All right, everyone. It's 8 o'clock or 8:01, something like that. So we're basically, let's see, a few people are still coming in. I mean, that's normal. So we're gonna get started. Uh, Now, just to make sure. Okay, that just ruined my thing. Now, right now, you can see a blank screen, correct? Is that what you're seeing? Okay, now can you see a slide that says free traffic webinar? Okay, great. All right, so on this webinar, this is about getting free traffic to your sites. Sites, whatever. If you have several sites or just one site you're working on, this stuff will work either way. This is very solid stuff. I'm going to talk about the ways. Okay, hold on. This is me. That's Nate Rivers. That's who you're listening to. I'm the guy behind StrayBlogger.com. A lot of you probably haven't heard of me. For my regular listeners, I ran a bunch of pay-per-click ads on Facebook the last week just to mess around with that. So it went pretty well so far. So here's what you're going to learn in this webinar. I want to go through 3 specific strategies that you can implement starting today that will bring more free traffic to your sites. Now, specifically, I've got these 3 methods that will bring, in my opinion, the highest converting traffic as far as free traffic methods go. Okay, and this stuff works. This is literally what I've built my entire business on, from when I started with the little niche sites to creating my own products. Well, I'll kind of talk about that, but this is solid stuff. Maybe not necessarily sexy stuff. If you were expecting to hear some huge secret, you might be disappointed, but I do have some tips that you probably haven't heard, or these will be a little bit different. So I want to go through a little bit about me and how I got started. So my first real job was working at Walmart. I worked in lawn and garden. I fed the goldfish. I assembled barbecue grills. Carried bags of, bark, dirt. Lawn and garden department. I think you all know exactly what that's like. I actually liked it at first. But pretty soon I figured out that working, for a set amount per hour really sucks. So I kind of somehow, I heard about sales, got into sales, started selling cell phones. Then I got into selling door to door. Now, one thing that I never really mentioned is sales and knowing how it works has a lot to do with success in marketing, online marketing. I mean, any type of marketing. So that actually helped me quite a bit. Even though I hated door-to-door sales, I absolutely hated it. I was actually pretty good at it. I made a lot of money doing door-to-door sales. Well, relative to like an hourly job. But eventually I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't hack the mental anguish day in and day out. So eventually I started my own business, and I started my own pest control business. A lot of people think that sounds weird. Well, and it is kind of weird, but pest control is actually very profitable. Yeah, if any of you out there pay for pest control services, I wouldn't go so far as to say you're getting ripped off, but the profit margins are high. Pest control is a good business as far as offline business, or like a real world business. But this was a step up from sales. I had my own people working for me, making money for me, but it was still a ton of work. Running your own small business, it was a ton of work. Any of you that have done that, your own small business, you know that as well. So eventually I ended up selling it to a bigger company. Now when I got the idea of making money from the internet, these ideas these timelines cross back to when I was selling cell phones. And I started a website about bodybuilding. And I was literally going after keywords like bodybuilding, build muscle, stuff like that. That's extremely hard to rank for. Needless to say, I never ranked for anything. I worked on this site for like 2 years, and like this slide says, absolutely nothing happened. So after about 2 years of getting no traffic, no sales, I made like a few dollars in 2 years total from AdSense, which is like more humiliating than making nothing, in my opinion. It was just, eventually I just had to, give up on the idea. I just didn't get it. There were very specific things that I know now that were the reasons why the site never went anywhere. Mainly keyword research and understanding SEO. But I gave up on this site, decided that internet marketing, I couldn't figure it out. A few months went by, I couldn't get the idea out of my head of, making money from a computer being 24 hours a day. If you have these websites or whatever, a product online that makes money 24/7, I couldn't get that idea out of my mind. So I came across the idea of pay-per-click next, and I went through this training course. I set up an account. I was literally convinced that I was going to set up this account and wake up with, I was thinking like $500 or $1,000 or more in my ClickBank account the next morning. I was 100% sold on the idea that that's what was going to happen. So, needless to say, you can see what happened here on the bottom of the slide. I went to bed, could barely sleep because I was so excited. I woke up and I'd spent $300 and no sales. So, that was another deflating, depressing thing. I gave up on the idea of internet marketing again for 6 months. I started reading stuff again. I just couldn't get the idea out of my head. That's making money from a computer anywhere you want to be. That's the dream. So I couldn't get that out of my head. So I came across the idea of niche sites somewhere. I figured out SEO and how it really worked and how to get these small sites ranked. I finally started to get sales, and from there I just figured out other things, and the rest is history, basically. So the things that I've done most successfully is product creation, creating my own products. Affiliate marketing. You can be a great affiliate marketer when you have your own products because you have these big buyers lists and stuff. Email marketing, that goes hand in hand with that. Amazon sites, authority sites, membership sites, and most recently Kindle publishing, which I'm still figuring out, but it's going pretty well. So I don't really like doing the proof of earnings thing, but at the same time, you do want to know that, someone you're going to listen to knows what they're talking about. So if you're a regular reader of my blog and everything, you know that my first big success online was just a series of these small targeted websites where I would create my own little products. So I had a lot of individual ClickBank accounts, that just made anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month. A few of them made a little more than that. So I had all these ClickBank accounts spread around. Most recently, I've taken a lot of those sites off ClickBank because people were finding them through the marketplace and just copying my product. And anyways, so I took a lot of them off and now just have them in PayPal. So this is 60 days of my business bank account. I crossed out everything except the PayPal deposits, just so you can see. It's a good amount for 2 months. This is another group of accounts. The one on the bottom is just another business account that various commissions get direct deposited in. The top two are June and July screenshots of commission Junction. So I mean, at this point I've figured out a lot of this. I'm pretty good at this point. That's the main idea behind showing you the proof of earnings. Now this isn't like millions of dollars and everything. I get that, but I hate to tell you this. When you see stuff like that, 90% of the time it's completely fake. If you didn't know that already, there are people online obviously that make millions, but it's pretty rare, especially in the just internet marketing niche. So I have to put this up here. My results aren't typical, and it takes work, time, and effort to get results like this. And if you follow my methods, I don't guarantee any level of success or income from my methods. I can show somebody exactly what's worked for me, but most people, when it comes down to it, still won't put in the time and effort long term required to actually learn these skills and or achieve the same type of results. And I think everyone understands that. Okay, so what can I teach you? That's probably what you're interested in. In this webinar specifically, I'm going to cover 3 of my favorite free traffic methods. Okay. Now, here is my favorite method for free traffic. This might not be my main free. Oh my gosh, sorry. My favorite free traffic method is just SEO in general. And just a tip for you guys. Like anything else, a lot of marketers have taken this angle that SEO is dead and you need all this other stuff. You've got to get into all these different methods because SEO is dead. There's nothing that converts like SEO traffic. If you can figure out SEO, you'll do fine. If that's the only skill you ever learned. SEO is it changes like any other business. You just have to, roll with the punches basically. That's not what this webinar is about though. So aside from the topic of just general SEO, my favorite method for free traffic is YouTube. YouTube is the second most used search engine. It can send you a ton of free traffic. It's long term. Once you get any amount of traffic from YouTube, most likely that's just going to increase, even from your same number of videos. But obviously, if you keep adding videos, that traffic level will get bigger and bigger. The other thing is, and I'm sure everyone knows this, Google loves YouTube videos. They're easy to rank. They're a lot easier to get ranked than your actual, a page on your own site. Now, just so I can see, how many of you guys use YouTube videos currently to get traffic to your sites? Like you repurpose your content into YouTube videos, or you just use video marketing in general? Okay, so Tyler says not yet. Ruben says of course. Matt says I do. A lot of just starting. All right, cool. So it's something you guys are doing then. All right. You should be doing it. Now, YouTube videos are great because for the most part they're more captivating than a text article. It depends on the topic and how good, what your writing skills are like. A big thing that I like is they allow you to have more than one result in the top 10. I just realized I forgot to add this to the slide, but you always want to embed the YouTube video back into the article that you based it on your own site, because just that, having the video there on the site, for the people that find your article first, it will really increase your average time on site and those other key metrics that Google's looking at. So you want to make sure you do that. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked on the questions box. Okay. Now, just from talking to people that I've done coaching calls with and stuff, a lot of people well, and I have to admit I was like this for a long time. Just the idea of my voice being out there on the internet and videos, I like had some irrational fear that somebody that I knew would like find these videos and just, I don't know. But a lot of people freak out over the same idea, just creating web video for some reason. So don't. It's extremely easy, it's cheap, it's effective, and it's just not a big deal. You know, putting yourself out there. Oh, Matson says I need to speak louder. Let me put this microphone closer to my face. Whoops. Can you guys hear me better now? Okay, sorry about that. Now, my favorite way of doing videos, I didn't list the different ones here, but my favorite way by far, as you can probably tell, is PowerPoint style videos, just like this webinar. They're effective. Well, that's the bottom line. That's the only thing I'm going for, is that they're effective. You know, I could mess around with the whole green screen, white background, me actually sitting there talking. And I mean, I'm not totally against that, but I really like how easy and quick it is. And you can still make a relatively good looking video with just putting a little bit of effort into making the slides look good. So that's the way that I like to do it. And one thing that's funny about this whole like YouTube video or using PowerPoint based videos is that one thing that I see a lot is people they choose a new method that they're going to start to use, and then they want to go straight to the top, like make it as hard as possible for themselves to start doing a new tactic. So people want to start doing video marketing, and you know, they buy $800 worth of equipment and a brand new video camera to start doing video marketing. And that's great. I mean, you can do that, but the fact is, my wife is in hygiene school, and this school costs $55,000 that, of course, I have to pay for. She better pay it back in the next few years once she's graduated, but the study materials that they give her that she's like looking through on the iPad at night are PowerPoint slides. I guess it's not crazy to me. That's how every college course is, but PowerPoint is just, it's what people are used to learning on. So don't think that it's, you know, people are going to see your videos and think, what is this PowerPoint garbage? As long as the content's good, people will like your videos. I have some obscure, kind of weird niches that I've created YouTube videos for, and it's just crazy to me how many views they get and how many likes they get. And and that's back when I was doing the straight black and white, the black and white template in Keynote. I use Keynote, by the way, not PowerPoint, because I'm on a Mac. But this stuff works. It's effective. That's the bottom line. You don't need to overthink this. Okay, so to do this, you only need 3 things. Screen recording software, many of which are free. Microphone headset at the minimum. I guess not even at the minimum. If your computer has an internal just microphone, like a MacBook does, you can still do it that way. PowerPoint software or Keynote or OpenOffice. That's it. That's the only 3 things that you absolutely need to start creating YouTube videos. Now you can buy premium themes that instantly look clean and professional from sites like slideshop.com, Slide Garden, Graphic River. Those are for PowerPoint. For Keynote, I buy themes from Joomsoft or Jumsoft, however you say that. And these are just very well done themes that you don't really have to do any editing or graphics for yourself, and they look really good as soon as you download them. So the way to do this, all you have to do is summarize your articles that you already have on your site, and going forward, when you write an article, you just quickly turn it into a few slides, and then you talk over them as you go. That's it. You don't need to put your article into your slides word for word. You want to always have a call to action in your slide. Well, I say a call to action slide, like a dedicated slide that will usually be the second slide and then the last slide, the exact same thing. The best thing to do is to call attention to your opt-in list. You wouldn't say it that way. You would point out the benefits of your freebie, whether that's like a PDF or a video series or whatever your freebie is that you're giving away. You want to just like pause the content of the video and take 20 to 30 seconds to just talk about why someone should go back to your site and opt into your list. That's very effective for getting traffic from YouTube directly to your squeeze page. So, like the bottom of this slide says, your second slide and then your last slide. I forgot to add the last slide part. Draw attention to your freebie and have a large prominent link on that slide that is a link to your opt-in page. So it should go without saying, make the link to your opt-in page like pretty small or pretty short. Like mine on Strayblogger, strayblogger.com/500club. Okay, another just tip, you want to always link back to the original article on your site in the first line of the video description. I'm just illustrating that here with this little screenshot. Now here are some of the biggest ranking factors on YouTube. There is a lot of them. There's a lot of things you can do to improve your keyword rankings, but doing these will give you like 80 to 90% of the results. So after what I'm mentioning here, I don't really do anything else. Okay, so the first thing is obviously keywords in your title. Try to get your main keyword phrase into your title, but it should also sound appealing to real people, because that's how you're going to actually rack up the views, is if your title is compelling. So you don't need to have your keyword phrase, word for word. You can spread the words throughout your title and still get, most of the SEO benefits from that. Now your description, one thing that's very easy and very effective is to take your entire original article and post it directly into the description box. Now the only thing to note on that point is to have the original article that you've published on your own site and make sure that that's been live for a few days and that you've built a few links to it, at least a few social bookmarks. That way the site, that way the article will have been indexed. Sorry, I was looking at some of your questions. Now, in the Q&A, I will answer all your questions at one time. So you can go ahead and, if I say anything that brings a question to your mind, just type it in so that it's there, so that you don't forget the question, and I will go back at the end of this and answer questions. So, sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. Okay, so where was I at? You can paste your entire original article right into the description box. The next thing is the tags that you use on your YouTube videos. You want to put your main keywords into the video tags, as well as a few other related tags. You don't want to put like 100 tags in there anymore. That used to work really well, not so much anymore. You want to be more specific versus trying to, stuff 50 tags in that tag box. The next thing is links. Backlinks, that is what gets sites ranked, despite what Google wants you to think with their last update. Backlinks still work. It's really the only thing that works. Now, at the very least, you want to build some social bookmarks to your video. Unique article wizard links work extremely well for getting YouTube videos ranked. I don't know what it is about UAW, but it works extremely well for YouTube videos. Actually, I think this next point is the big advantage. Embeds, the number of embeds, that's a big quality factor that Google looks at for YouTube videos, because if someone has taken your YouTube video and embedded it on their site, that would mean that your video is pretty high quality. Or that's what it should mean. So Unique Article Wizard lets you embed your own YouTube video into the articles that it's going to send out to hundreds of directories. So your video gets embedded hundreds of times. So that's a very big factor that helps get your YouTube video ranked. Now here's another thing that without any extra, well, submitting these actually takes a little extra work, but without any, having to rewrite all your content or anything, you can take the slides that you've created. So this is specifically for creating slide-based YouTube videos. You've already spent the time to create these slides for your YouTube videos. Upload the PowerPoint file to slideshare.net, slideboom.com, authorstream.com, powershow.com. Those are the big slide sharing sites that you'll get, the majority of the traffic from. I probably wouldn't spend time submitting to other ones unless you have unless you have something that I don't know about, some site that takes PowerPoint presentations and you know that it works. But these are the main ones that will send you the majority of the results. The other thing that you can do is, well, I know you can do this with Keynote, and I'm pretty sure you can do this with PowerPoint. You just export those slides as a PDF, and then you have a PDF, and you just upload your PDF to document sharing sites such as Scribe, DocStock, Calameo, Crocodoc. These ones I have listed here: DocShare, Udo, and it won't always, not every single one that you put on will generate a bunch of traffic, but if you just do this consistently, like you just make this part of your content creation process, you will get a lot more traffic than you've been getting pretty quickly. This stuff adds up. So, I think that's it for this YouTube. Yeah. So method number 2 is improving your current SEO. Now, whether you think you're focusing on SEO or not, if you've built backlinks to your site in any way, it's on Google's radar. And what you need to do is, I have a paid account with Ahrefs. It's such an awesome tool. Sign up for a free account at ahrefs.com. And then you click on SERPs analysis and you enter in your domain name. And this is what it's going to look like. So this is, I've entered in strayblogger.com in their SERPs analysis tool. And if you guys can see my mouse. So here's what this all means. It goes out and it sees what keyword phrases that you're ranking for and where they're all at. And by default, it lists them in the order of what keyword phrases are sending you the most traffic, like right now. So the way that you use this information is, just as a benchmark, start with your top 20. I couldn't make this very much bigger. To make it fit in this slide. But anyway, start with your top 20 keyword phrases. And this gives you several things to work on. So first of all, anything that's not number 1 right here, that's where you should be spending your backlinking and your SEO efforts, because these are already getting results in the search engines. So it's your best chance, or whatever you want to call it, it's your quickest way of getting top search engine rankings. So, maybe this number 4 for how to start a blog, that's incredibly competitive. That gets 49,000 searches a month. And yeah, that does really well for my site. And then there's all these other starting a blog variation keywords. As you can see, that makes up the majority of my top 20. Anyways, especially anything that's below 10 but higher than 100, you have a good chance of being able to get those keyword phrases into the top 10. the next thing that it gives you is the keyword phrase. And a lot of these might come across, I mean, these don't come across as weird. These are like exact things I've optimized my pages for. But if you've never used hrefs before, you'll see keyword phrases that might seem strange that you're ranking that well for them, but you need to go back to the corresponding pages and add those to your keyword box, and maybe actually add the exact phrase somewhere in the article, just to kind of optimize it for that phrase. And the main thing you can do is just build more backlinks to these pages. So that's a very high leverage strategy of getting more search engine traffic as soon as, like, it's the fastest way for you to get more search engine traffic, to look at your top 20 of the keyword phrases that are already, like right now, sending you the most traffic, and just work on those. That is a really good trick. Okay, so the next method, well, this is within method number 2, improving your SEO. You want to look in your Google Analytics as well at the keywords that you're currently getting traffic for, and this will be a little bit different than the Ahrefs results. So it just gives you a little bit different variation, but it's the same idea. You go back and optimize your pages for those keywords. Now, coming back to this Ahrefs thing, I'm not sure how many searches or how many results the free account will show you, but it's definitely enough to get you started. I'm pretty sure it's like 15, but even if it's only 10, it's totally worth your time to work on those 10 keyword phrases. Okay, now method number 3, building a list. Sorry, you guys, to my regular readers, I hammer this all the time, but it's the number one thing you can do for long-term traffic and income. It is the only real source of push-button traffic. What you have to remember when you just think about building a list as part of your traffic, well, your overall website strategy, is that most visitors, even if your content is great, they will never ever come back to your site. I mean, just think about yourself cruising the web for random stuff, especially when you search for something in Google and you come across, just whatever sites happen to rank for whatever you happen to search for. You will not, 99% of the sites you come across, you will never visit those again. You probably won't even remember that you searched for those things. So the only way to change that is to get people's email address. Now, you can't get everyone's email address, obviously, but even just 1% over the course of 6 months or a year will make a huge difference. You can do a lot better than 1%, but that's the main point. You need to be capturing email addresses so that you can have repeat visitors. That's huge for your SEO, and it's huge for just the income of a website. So to build a list, at the very least, you can put up a web form, an opt-in form that asks for their email that says get free updates to your inbox. That's like the path of least resistance when it comes to list building. That's like the very minimum thing you can do to at least put an opt-in form up, and you'll still get opt-ins from that. You can get a lot more opt-ins if you offer something of value, to your market. It's not rocket science to kind of identify, okay, the people coming to this site for these keywords, in general, they'll probably be interested in, a cheat sheet on whatever it is, lawn care tips, or the top 5 ways that you're ruining your lawn that you don't know about, something like that. You've all seen the free report format. It's not rocket science to come up with one of those. It's essentially a longish article. So you can put one of those together in Word or Pages, whether you use a Mac or a PC, export it in a PDF, and there you go. You have an opt-in form, like a lead magnet for people to opt in and get. Now, if the way that this builds a lot of traffic isn't obvious to you, I'm going to explain it. As far as the content to put into your autoresponder sequence, Now, does anyone that's listening to this not know what an autoresponder sequence is? Sorry. Is that like something that no one's heard about before? Pretty sure you all know what that is. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Yeah, so everyone is familiar with that. Autoresponder sequence is just an automatic series of emails that get sent out at certain intervals. And you just use an autoresponder service to do that, like Aweber or iContact. Now, what you do, I mean, you can create specific autoresponder sequences. That's totally up to you. Or an easy way is just to put your best content or even just your okay content into a series of autoresponder messages that get sent out to your list over time. Maybe every 4 days, maybe every 6 days, 7 days. I mean, whatever you feel comfortable with. And when I tell people that, the first thing they say is, well, why would I just put articles on my website into my autoresponder sequence? If they visited my website, they've already seen those articles. Well, no, they actually haven't. The average visitor to your site will only view a few pages on any given visit. Like, very rarely will it be more than 2. I mean, pretty rarely will it be more than 1 page. It's really hard anymore to get eyeballs stuck to pages. So, and just to prove the opposite point, even if they have read that article, just the other day I got an email from a reader, and this was on Stray Blogger, who had been sent a previous article in my autoresponder sequence. This is an article that was published, I don't know, 4 months ago or something. And he read the article just the other day when he got the email about it, thought it was great, like great content. Then he saw that he'd commented on the post when it was first published. He did not remember this article whatsoever. So that happens. So putting your best content into your autoresponder sequence, even if you're emailing your list with a broadcast, meaning a one-time email as you publish each piece of content, it's still valuable to your readers that you send that stuff out as reminders or whatever, however you want to think about it. It's just a good strategy. It works. It builds this, I was just going to mention, if you promote Amazon products, you cannot put Amazon affiliate links in emails. That's very, very against their terms of service, and they have some way of knowing if you've sent traffic directly from an email, and you will get your account shut down. On the other hand, if you promote digital products like ClickBank products, using a series of emails is hands down the best way to generate those kinds of sales. A lot of people say that it's the only way to generate, digital product sales. It seemed like I was trying to say something else and I forgot. Well, yeah, that's basically what I was saying. An autoresponder sequence is it's an incredible tool. It lets you leverage your content. Readers, you set up an autoresponder sequence once, and it's autopilot relationship building. It could be described as a lot of things, but it's the number one tool that you can use to make your marketing around your website and your content effective. It's the hands down the best thing you can do. Okay. So, if anything I've mentioned any of the tools, you can find links to them on strayblogger.com/resources. But now we'll do question and answer. So if you've been holding on to a question, or you have any questions currently, you can type them into the question box now. I'm just going to go back up to the top where a question started and start going through some of these. Okay, so Anne-Marie asked, will there be a replay? Yes, I'm recording this. And, sorry guys, I've got to exit the slides to look at the questions. Okay. Steve's saying you need a course on YouTube marketing. I do have that inside Stray Blogger Training. There's like a whole module on that. Helen's asking, what are the names of the screen recording software? That's a good question. I should have listed those. The two best ones that are paid are ScreenFlow, which is what I use. I absolutely love ScreenFlow, but it's for Macs, exclusively for Macs. Camtasia is the big one on Windows. Well, and Camtasia, you can get it on a Mac as well. The free ones, there's like screencast.com, there's Jing, Jing. Actually, let me do this for you. These free ones, I haven't really tried these out, but they're good. The thing with Jing or some of the free ones, you're going to be limited to time amounts, like 5 minutes or less or 10 minutes or less. Jing, Screencast. I want to say it's screencast.org. Right now I can't think of any other ones. It's Camtasia and ScreenFlow. Okay. What was the names of those? John asked, what were the names of those themes on my last slide? Let me find that for you. Sorry, that was it. Okay, slideshop.com, slidegarden.com, graphicriver.net, and for Keynote on the Mac, Joomsoft. Or that's the one I use. There's probably other ones. So for this, the replay will be useful. If you forget, John, then I'll have this up in like a few hours from now. Okay, Matson asked, is that link just for traffic or does it help SEO? Both. Definitely both. Especially when you build backlinks to the YouTube video itself. It's a pretty powerful backlink at that point, back to your main site. Helen asked, can I explain what a video tag is? A video tag is, well, when you upload a YouTube video, it's like a required field. It's right after the description. It just says tags, where you just type in keywords that the video's about. So, yeah, it's pretty easy. Linda asks, can you put your competitor's site in there? I'm assuming you're asking about hrefs. Yes, you can. And that's a whole other strategy. That's very revealing to see, if you want to rank for a certain keyword, to go through like the top 10 sites and see what exact keyword phrases they're ranking for, besides the one that you're interested in, obviously. There's a lot of stuff you can do with hrefs. That's not even like their main tool. Like when they're on their sales page, that's not even the main tool that they are promoting. Anyways. Linda, you asked, how many do you send out and how often? You're probably asking about autoresponder messages. I would send out autoresponder messages. It kind of depends. It kind of comes with experience. It depends on the site. If it's just where you're loading up past articles, I would just send it out every 4 or 5 days. Yes, there will be a replay. Linda, you said, Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, that's another good. I have heard of that. Screencast-O-Matic, for any of you guys that are wondering. Okay. My videos are usually 4 to 5 minutes. When I'm just repurposing an article, that's usually what they end up being. Tammy is asking, for using UAW, do you think it's okay to hire a gig on Fiverr for using it versus buying it? Well, here's the I get the question or the conflict, because it's $67 a month. You could buy 15 gigs for that in 1 month. The biggest problem with a Fiverr gig is the quality is atrocious. And Unique Article Wizard, they're constantly improving their network of sites to where lately I'm actually seeing, previously in the past year and a half, Unique Article Wizard was strictly for backlinks. But they're starting to submit, they've got, however they do it, agreements with actual blogs, article directories that actually get traffic, stuff like that. I'll actually see traffic when I do a well-written, spend a little bit longer than normal put a little bit more effort than normal into the Unique Article Wizard submission so that it's well-written and informative and everything. I will see traffic from Unique Article submissions. So I will say that if you just have one site, that's not making any money or anything, I probably wouldn't get Unique Article Wizard just up front. You will get results faster using it. It's a great tool. It's the one backlinking tool that's withstood the test of time for me. It's kind of like Market Samurai in that regard. It's, all these different things I've tried, it's the number one most effective thing that I keep coming back to. So it's just something, it's just something you have to decide yourself. That's the issue, though, is the very poor quality of Fiverr gigs. Oh, Sweet Pea is saying the screen recorder built into Chrome browser is really decent too. That's a good tip, because I had no clue there even was one. So that's something that all of you can try, I guess. Mark's saying Cam Studio has a free version. That's a good point. And you can get the full-fledged version for 30 days, You could go on a YouTube creation blitz and create 100 videos in a month. Okay, Steve asked, I mentioned that I took some of my sites down. How do you protect your sites from prying eyes? Well, you can and you can't. It's too bad that it is this way, but it's very common for people to just cruise the marketplace listings on ClickBank, buy a product, and outsource the recreation in a week, and put it back up. And it will look completely different, but that's what happens. They just find, obscure products that don't have many competing, sites or competing products, and that's what they'll do. So I just took them off ClickBank as far as, people wouldn't be able to find them in the ClickBank marketplace like that. That way, for the most part, the only people coming to your site are people who are just legitimately looking for that type of information, especially when it's a small, obscure niche. HD is saying, is my training a step-by-step system that a newbie can follow? Yeah, definitely. the straybloggertraining.com, the core training is me building a site from scratch. That's what it is. And that's still ongoing. I'm still working on the site and everything. So, yeah. Like I said in the ads and emails and stuff, I don't have a pitch on this webinar or anything. I'm not trying to promote anything. So, this was pretty much just a training webinar to help you guys with some of the most solid free traffic tactics that I know of. That I literally... SEO, YouTube videos, and list building, that has been the core of my business up until this point. Now I'm starting to, that doesn't really matter. I'm starting to do pay-per-click and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I've gone through all the questions, you guys, in case, we've gone about 50 minutes, an hour. That's what I was planning on. Okay, a few more have come in. If you have any last minute questions, type them in right now. So, yes, Bobby. Well, no, not in the members area. I'm just gonna put this on the on Stray Blogger, like as a blog post, probably. My Kindle books, man, they're they're doing good. Mattson asked, how are my Kindle books doing? Even the one, I mean, I had so the example site in Stray Blogger training, I'm creating like a series of Kindle books and making like a whole module, Kindle book creation module just out of that experiment. And even that book is is selling like 5 to 10 copies a day already. It's awesome, but nothing like these other books, this other series that I've been doing. Steve, you asked can I recommend a good formatter for Kindle books? Like an outsourcer. I do my own. I get my books back from my writer and I just format them myself. I mean, it takes like a half hour to an hour. I don't know if that's what you mean. Just if you just follow like Kindle inside KDP, they have a PDF that is very good, like describes everything you need to know of like how to format your Word document. How do I outsource writing the Kindle books? Well, there's videos on that in detail in Stray Blogger training, but the short answer is I use Content Authority. They're really good. Well, I just have one writer now that I use for like pretty much all of them. Alicia asked, how do I get traffic to my first ebook on Kindle? What I've figured out is that, well, okay, it's not one thing. I was going to say, the first thing that I was going to say off the top of my head is that it's all about the cover, which is true to a point. But your cover and the title itself, I mean, because the title is on the cover, obviously, it really comes back to market research and knowing how to do that within the Kindle store. And I think from all my experience building niche sites and whatever, I've been surprised at how well my books have done, like right off the bat. But I do have to think that it's because I'm, experienced in just this whole marketing thing. That's what I would attribute it to. So I didn't do anything like crazy outside of Amazon to get traffic to my books. Nothing, actually. There's just it's market research, and then it's using KDP Select. You got to get a few reviews first. You got to get your title dialed in and your cover. I think it all, it's just kind of all of it matters, basically. All the parts matter, that you get all the parts right. Oh, Steve, you meant software? Okay. Again, I just use Word. I don't use Word. I use Pages in a Mac, and then I export it to a .doc, a Microsoft Word document, and that's what I actually upload into the Kindle, into KDP. So, yeah, that's it. I don't use anything special. All right. I have covered all the questions. So, yeah, just you can look for on strayblogger.com the replay of this. Oh, Erwin says, Market Samurai or Longtail Pro. Market Samurai. It's faster. It's much faster, actually. Market Samurai to this day is what I pull up and use daily, like multiple times, just because of how fast it is. That's just, so if I recommend one, definitely it's Market Samurai. Thank you, Linda. You're welcome. I'm glad you learned some new things. All right, guys. Oh, one more. Hold on. Erwin, yeah, the SEO TC, I believe it is still pulling from Bing. But the thing about that is you can see which phrases have less competition relative to the other similar phrases. So it's the same effect. The number specifically isn't that big of a deal. It's within a related group of keywords, which ones have less competition, and it's going to be the same ratio in Google. Does that make sense? So that really doesn't matter. Okay, guys. Cool. Well, thanks for attending, and yeah, if you want to go through this again, the replay will be up in a few hours, hopefully. So have a good night.